Today, we're going to bring forth a couple bills that we're working through. I will say that we're going to take up 2625 and 2636 together. We have the esteemed Senator Scott Delano here, who's going to help us out with those. Senator Delano, I believe you've got 2625 first. Would you like to visit with us on that one?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. As soon as Andrew is able to get off his phone and not disrupt our committee meeting. But okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, members of the committee, these two bills are a work product that Senator Williams and I have worked on for a number of years conceptually. I am going to discuss this in form of Senate Bill 2625 first. That is the Chief Information Officer, and then we'll go into the Department of Cybersecurity. I think everyone in this room has had a member or another agency come in and talk about some different types of just frustrations with cybersecurity or anything that's related to technology. Years ago, when ITS was first formed, they were trying to address a very specific set of needs at that time, which I think was in the 90s or 80s or something back there. We have gone through and done a lot of Band-Aids over the years to try to help deal with IT issues and technology implementation. We're now to a point where we've got some significant threats to government, specifically in cybersecurity, but we've looked at is the best way for us to address this from a government structure perspective. What we're proposing in this bill is a establishment of a chief information officer, a state CIO, that would be at the governor's office level. So they would participate, they would be sitting at the table at all agency head meetings. And that single person eventually, and this is again conceptually at this point, would be helpful in implementing cybersecurity policy that we've already implemented and that Chairman Williams is working on again in his committee, in advancing our security posture and our cybersecurity posture statewide. It will also help the governor's office have a person that they're going to be very close to navigate all of the other technology issues that we have, whether it be cybersecurity or it could be broadband, it could be the usage of AI, a lot of different things. The bill that's before you today is really a first cut where we've worked on this for over a year now. In the last 4 or 5 months, we've worked with the governor's office and other agencies and most importantly, the ITS board in discussing how should this be implemented. What this is a work in progress. I'm asking you to consider passage of this bill today to help us move through the process so that we can work through this. And I would like for you to think of this as an overarching umbrella for all ITS or all information systems and technology throughout state government. And then the other bill that we're going to talk about here in a second will actually be something that will be underneath it, but it would also help it. So in this particular bill, we're talking about a cabinet level position of state CIO that would there's discussions of whether we implement this in the next fiscal year or if we wait until 2028. We're going to work with the governor's office on addressing that as we move forward. But for right now, what we're bringing to you is a conceptual idea that we're coalescing around and building support from all the necessary persons within leadership and within our state government. And Mr. Chairman, I'm going to yield at this time for this particular bill of 2625 to answer questions and yield for you.
On 2625, do we have any questions from the committee on that? And I guess my next question, my first question, Senator Delano, would be, Would you be opposed, or do you feel like a reverse repealer needs to go in this so we can continue working on it?
Mr. Chairman, I think that that would be an excellent amendment for you to
Senator
make.
Hickman,
My motion is to add a reverse repealer.
any questions on just adding the reverse repealer? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, so we're gonna add a reverse repealer to that to continue working on it. Any questions on the now committee sub we've got? All right, I'm gonna need a motion from the committee. Titus Fishett Dupass, committee sub on 2625. You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, we're gonna report that one out as a committee sub there. Senator Delano, do you want to move on to 2636, or you want me to just kind of throw it out there?
Yes, sir. Let me just real quickly, if you don't mind, I'll give a brief explanation of that. So this is again a follow-up piece. We passed a statewide cybersecurity plan a couple of years ago. This is really the next phase of that, and that is that we need to have some additional teeth put into this. And this is something that we would like to set up a Department of Cybersecurity where we would have possibly investigators or a task force that include investigators from DPS, the auditor's office, and various other law enforcement agencies, including the local jurisdictions, to help combat cybersecurity crimes that have occurred and also promote good cyber policies throughout the state and implementation of cyber policies. Again, relating it back to this, the bill that we talked about before, these would be cooperative, and it would, if we come back at the end of the day and combine this particular bill into the other bill, would be best practice. But we're going to roll with both of these and make sure that we're going to somehow, some way achieve a better cyber posture for state government and for the protection of taxpayer dollars and taxpayer information. And that's a brief explanation. And I would think that your vice chair would be proper to add the same amendment that we offered in the first bill.
All right, I know Senator Blunt's got some questions. Would you allow us to do a reverse repealer first? So Senator Hickman,
My motion is to add a reverse repealer.
any questions on the reverse repealer? All in favor say aye. All right, any opposed? Okay, so we've added a reverse repealer to it. So now as to the committee sub, Senator Blunt, have you questions?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't really understand. I would think everything that the Department of ITS does would contain an element of cybersecurity involving the protection of data and preventing threats to all the different things that they already have purview over. But we're creating a new government agency to deal with cybersecurity threats. It just seems to me that we need to figure out whether we're going to have a Department of Cybersecurity or we're going to have an ITS department. And right now we're just going to have both with overlapping jurisdictions to deal with state agencies.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that they were overlapping as much as overlapping in actuality than maybe the way that I have explained it to you. But think about it like this: ITS has a strong cyber policy that we've implemented, and that has been very helpful for state agencies.
Mm-hmm.
However, this bill is an attempt to try to help on the law enforcement side. This is the cops, and these are cops that are trying to go out and catch bad guys, and also come up with different policies to help protect more Mississippians outside of our core functions of our state government. And I'm probably need to yield to Chairman Williams on any other comments or additional comments regarding this. But the goal here is to let cybersecurity and the protections that we need for our core functions of state government reside within the Department of ITS and what they do today to protect our state network. And then the cybersecurity, the Department of Cybersecurity would be a cooperation between the protections and the mitigation and the measures that take place to prevent cybersecurity, and then it would meet it with what happens when there is an attack, and who are we going to go after? How do we try to catch the bad guys that are doing it? ITS doesn't have the cops or the investigators to go out and do the work on a post-attack prosecutory effort for anything.
And I understand this is a work in progress, but we would rather than give them that authority, we're going to create a new agency to do it.
Well, we looked at a lot of different things. You've got a bunch of different agencies that are already doing this work. You've got the Attorney General's office that's doing great work. You've got DOR that's doing great work. You've got DPS. You have a lot of local officials that are doing good work, working with federal partners as well. And this Department of Cybersecurity, or the department that we're talking about here, is trying to bring those professionals together so that they can collaborate in a more effective manner to prevent and or to investigate cybersecurity.
Okay, I certainly realize it's an important issue. I'm just concerned. I think we need to have clear lines of responsibility over who's doing what.
Well, and
Yes.
I'll say that I do, since I have a name on there, I think that we're going, that's our aim, Senator Blunt, is not to go out there. If there's one thing this committee's been doing, is to clean up any inefficiencies in government. And I think this is an attempt to move forward with that. And I think Senator Williams is going to respond to some of that in just a moment. But the greatest threat we've got out there is not the person coming with, into your yard to the levels that we're thinking. What they're doing now, they're attacking our schools, they're attacking our hospitals, they're attacking our government. And unfortunately, our ITS is not to the level that we need it. We have some people that are super smart, that are sitting in some areas in darkened rooms with computer screens, and they're on the attack. Our government's on the attack every day. You go down to the coast down there, Senator Delano can take you into some facilities down there where they are constantly monitoring the threats against our people. And I think the eventual goal is to get to a point where we've got people that are there to respond to those on a daily basis. Senator Williams, please add to.
Mr. Chairman, I think you about covered as good as it can. I mean, as we go forward, one of our biggest threats is going to be cyber attacks, and we want to make sure we communicate this is very important. With the CSRB board that Senator Delano alluded to a moment ago, we've got different players doing great things throughout the state, but trying to collaborate that, one, will minimize duplicity. And as we continue to go forward, this will only grow in the expenses that we have to put there. So by having a Department of Cyber, and as Senator Delano referred to, as we go through the process, we got several bills working. Not all of them survive. Some of them will be sucked up under some other ones. The Cyber Security Agency is a model that's used throughout the country. The CIO is a model that's used throughout the country. So these will kind of mash up together. Homeland Security is where the cops and robbers, if you will, are housed now. Another big concern that's out there, obviously with state agencies and ITS, we have that cyber piece pretty well covered, I think. It's the locals where we have concern. With the CSRB board, Homeland Security, what they've done is administering federal grants over the last couple of years, done a great job at basically, as I referred to it, creating a tool in the toolbox for the locals. We're not requiring, we're federated, we don't want to do that, but we're trying to incentivize for these guys to come in and get analysis with those tools that are there. The Department of Cybersecurity, as we continue to go down this path, we think this puts that out there even more. MDE, when we started, we had 40, 50 school districts involved. Now we've got like 90-something% of them involved in the program. So been doing a really good job. Those guys have done a really good job at putting the word out. The Cybersecurity Agency with this legislation would allow us just to continue to put that at the forefront.
And one last thing I want to say this, Mr. Chairman, I think it's very important for the agency to understand, is that we want ITS to be focused on restoring government function and restoring computer systems after an attack. And that is a extremely difficult task to accomplish. They're in the recovery and restoration business, and we need a very clear delineation of who's going to try to go after the bad guys. And that's what this really does. It allows ITS to focus back on getting the network stuff done, getting and restoring functionality of government, and allowing the Department of Cybersecurity to provide assistance in trying to track down who has done this work or who has caused these problems for the state of Mississippi. And I'll yield, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
Senator Blunt? Well, you've heard the explanation. Any other questions, Senator Williams? I think this is very much one of the pieces to the puzzle that we're going to work on. I know that Senator Williams has some that he's working on as well. I think that we're going to continue to build. And at the end of the day, the goal is not to build some massive agency. The goal is to take the people together that we've got out there working in this field and put them under some leadership and some immediate direction from the governor's office, because when an attack happens, we as the legislature are not here. And the governor's office can be the final say on being sure that things are done to the levels they need to be done. So, do we have a motion off this bill?
Title sufficient, do pass, committee sub.
Title sufficient, do pass, committee sub is a motion. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? So we'll report that one on out. Senator Delano, you're doing so well. Let's go ahead and call up 2632. I believe we will need a motion from Senator Hickman on that as well. Let's go ahead and take that motion on that now.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we add a reverse repealer.
So we're going to put a reverse repealer in 2632. Any questions on that before we do that? And I'll tell you, essentially, this is another work in progress that Senator Delano will go over here in a moment. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? We're getting slow as the day goes on. So Delano, please give us a brief synopsis.
Yes, here's a brief one. All right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, FEMA is getting ready to make some significant changes to how they do disaster recovery nationwide. We're expecting a report to come back in the next couple of weeks on how the changes will affect the state and to what level of monies or to what level of destruction will be required for FEMA to kick in a federal disaster declaration. We don't know exactly what that looks like right now. And this bill, all it does is bring forward the code sections for us to give us time before the end of the session to digest what the feds come up with and look at what is going to be the best way for the state of Mississippi to provide a responsible disaster recovery funding for any natural disaster that occurs throughout the state. That's a brief explanation of the bill, and I'll yield.
All right. Any questions on that? All right. At the end of the day, it's just putting in place what we're going to work off of from here on. So, do I have a motion? Title sufficient, do pass, committee sub is your motion. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right. Last but not least, before we have one little discussion, is going to be 2817, and we're going to call that up. So we are blessed to have Senator Thompson here and not former Senator and Commissioner Tindall here as we had in Judd B. So Senator Thompson, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, Senate Bill 2817 comes to us from the Department of Public Safety to help the department address a few internal arrangements within the department. Currently, under DPS, there are 11 different offices. Those are listed on lines 26 through 50 of the bill. Includes things like commercial transportation enforcement, driver services, the forensic lab, law enforcement officers training academy, the Capitol Police, and of course, highway patrol. What this bill would do would take 4 of those and put them underneath the State Bureau of Investigation, which is an existing subdivision, but it would take narcotics, Bureau of Investigation, narcotics, Homeland Security, and the forensic lab and put them underneath that one office. According to Director Tindall, or Commissioner Tindall rather, the need for this is that it allows him to move his manpower a little bit within the department the way he may need to address different things as they come up, and just to overall make operations and sort of the chain of command inside the department a little more efficient and to consolidate the agency. Commissioner Tindall tells me that this has already been done in states like Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, and Louisiana. And this effort is supported by the heads of those bureaus that are coming underneath the Bureau of Investigation. That's the next place, Section 1 of the bill. Section 2 of the bill, which picks up on line or on or around line 118, removes a repealer on a 5-cent fee for telecommunications that currently go towards the agency. The 5-cent fee has been on there for a long time, and that just removes the repealer to keep that in place. Section 3 of the bill that starts off on line 124 increases the fee that these departments, medical examiners can charge for autopsies. So what I've learned is that the pathologist is an employee of the department. If something comes in from one of the counties, the pathologist may, if he or she performs an autopsy on that decedent, then the county reimburses the department for that cost. The current cost is $1,000. This proposed language would increase the fee by $200 to $1,200. From what the commissioner tells me, that's very modest compared to what other states charge for autopsies. Texas charges $4,000. Louisiana charges $2,500. This would put us at $1,200. Section 4 of the bill that picks up on line 208. And the actual language change for the committee is all the way back on line 426. These are inspection certificates for cars that have been totaled by the insurance companies. After the car has been totaled, if a scrap dealer or somebody puts the car back together, the department can issue what's called a salvage title for the vehicle. In order to get the salvage title, the vehicle has to be inspected by the department. This would increase the fees for that inspection from, I think, 25 to 50. Right now, inside the department, the cost for them to do these inspections, he says, runs about $900,000 annually, and he's only collecting $500,000 in fees. This would just get him to breaking even is the effort there. Section 5 of the bill that starts off on line 461 deals with the police powers of DPS. All this section does is bring forward the current code sections. The commissioner is trying to start a conversation about DPS being able or having the authority to assist municipalities and other departments in their investigations. The DPS has tools and resources available that some of those municipal departments may not have, and it would potentially expand their police powers. That's the conversation that he's trying to start with Section 5. But like I said, it's just bringing forward code sections. That's a brief explanation of the different parts of this bill, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Senator Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the presentation. Just a couple of quick questions. The autopsy increase, from 1,000 to 1,200, do you know the last time that number was raised?
Yeah, I think it was back in the 90s.
Okay, it's been a long time.
Been a while.
Yeah, that's a very moderate increase. Last thing is with the consolidation, is there a estimated cost savings or is there one to do that? Seems like administratively there might be some benefit in that.
From what I understand from what his current budget is and the way his budget's set up, it's not so much a cost savings that you're not going to lose pins, you're not going to lose jobs. It's just, you're not going to lose pins, you're not going to necessarily not perform those functions anymore. It's just to streamline sort of the who's in charge portions of the Bureau of Investigation, Bureau of Narcotics, Homeland Security, and Forensic Lab, to bring them all under kind of one command.
Okay, so the people that are leaders of one of the 11 would still be there, but just under another chief, if you will, if that's the way, those positions are still needed. Just the organization structure changes somewhat.
That's what I understand, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other questions on that one? Senator Thompson for a motion.
House Fish and do pass.
All right. Motion is title fish do pass. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Last but not least, I'm going to mention this. We're not going to call it up at this time. I want you to know where we're headed with it because there's two bills that y'all got in your committee that are sending you all kinds of emails. One of them is Senator England's and one of them is going to be mine. 2673 will be discussed further. the discussions moving towards us having a year-long study as to the benefits and effects of what that might look like, if it's even beneficial to the state and to the constituents that are out there. We're gonna figure out whether we're gonna do that as a study committee or if we're just gonna call the committee as a whole to come in and discuss that over the year. So just know that, and that's out there in the public. I want them all to know that we're gonna be looking at doing a study over the next 365 days to find out whether that's feasible or not. I have nothing further for the committee today, so I'd entertain a motion. All right, rise report. All in favor, say aye. All right, see y'all next week. I got you out by 5. 5 minutes.